Year 2471. At exactly 6:14 in the morning, something impossible happened. Every artificial sound on Earth disappeared. Cars still moved. Aircraft still flew. Factories continued operating. But there was no engine noise, no alarms, no announcements, no electronic sounds. Even the largest cities became completely silent. At first, scientists believed it was a global technological failure. But there was one strange detail. Nature hadn't gone silent. Birds were still singing. Waves were still crashing. Wind was still moving through the trees. Only one thing had disappeared: the sound created by humanity. Within hours, researchers discovered something even stranger. Global acoustic sensors showed that natural sounds were becoming easier to detect than ever before. Signals that had been buried beneath centuries of traffic, machinery, aircraft, and construction suddenly became visible. Then, an underwater sensor detected something unusual. A powerful low-frequency pulse was coming from deep beneath the ocean floor. Scientists searched historical databases. The signal wasn't new. It had existed for millions of years. Human technology had simply been too loud for anyone to notice it. So they sent a deep-sea exploration vehicle toward the source. And what they discovered changed everything. Several kilometers beneath the ocean floor was an enormous natural network. It wasn't a machine. There were no artificial components, no evidence of construction. Instead, it was made from minerals, microorganisms, pressure zones, and complex geological structures. Yet something moved through it. Tiny vibrations traveled across the network. One ocean communicated with another. Marine ecosystems responded. Whales changed their migration patterns. Fish reacted to distant signals. Scientists realized they weren't looking at a language. They were looking at something much larger. A natural communication system connecting Earth's ecosystems. For millions of years, this system had operated silently beneath the planet. But human civilization had gradually covered it with noise. Cities expanded, factories multiplied, aircraft filled the atmosphere, ships crossed the oceans, and the natural acoustic world became harder to hear. When artificial noise suddenly disappeared, scientists finally heard the planet itself. They discovered that forests, oceans, animals, weather systems, and geological activity were constantly exchanging information. Earth wasn't a collection of separate environments. It behaved more like one enormous, interconnected system. And humanity had been living inside it without realizing it. The discovery changed the future. Instead of simply making technology quieter, humanity redesigned civilization around acoustic balance. Transportation became nearly silent. Factories were isolated from sensitive ecosystems. Large regions of ocean were declared acoustic protection zones. Cities were redesigned so wildlife could communicate without interference. And something unexpected happened. The oceans became healthier. Wildlife returned to areas abandoned for generations. Natural ecosystems began recovering. For the first time, humanity understood that pollution wasn't always something you could see. Sometimes, it was something you could no longer hear. 1 year later, a young scientist stood alone beside the ocean at night. There were no engines, no aircraft, no machines, only waves, wind, insects, and distant wails. Then, the global sensors detected another signal. The ancient network had changed. Scientists discovered that it wasn't sending a message, it was responding to changes across the planet. The oceans, the atmosphere, the animals, the land. Everything was connected. Humanity had spent centuries trying to make the world speak louder. But the greatest discovery came when the world became quiet enough to listen. Earth was never silent. We were simply too loud to hear it. And perhaps the next step in human civilization isn't learning how to control nature, but finally learning how to listen to it.